Struggling to pick colors that really work together in your painting? Let's make it clear. Welcome to my studio, I'm Tineke. This is episode 2 of my weekly series Color Palettes for Painting, where we explore one color group and one color scheme in each episode. If you haven't watched the intro video of this series yet, you'll find the link in the description below. Inside each of these balls is a small printed note with one dominant color and one color scheme. I prepared all of them in advance, mixed them up and sealed them inside. That way, even I don't know what's coming next, keeping it spontaneous and unpredictable. Today's color scheme is a Pink Monochromatic palette. A monochromatic color scheme is built around one single color. You can think of that color as a family. All its tints, shades and variations naturally belong together. That's why monochromatic palettes feel so calm and harmonious. Pink covers a wide range of colors, from soft, pastel pinks and muted tones to stronger hues like fuchsia and magenta. Pink is a lighter tint of red. It carries some of the energy of red, but with a gentler and more approachable feeling. Pink can lean in different directions. You can mix it slightly toward red-violet or toward orange-red. This makes pink very versatile. In a monochromatic palette, you work with lighter and darker tones and with different intensities of the same color. To add more variation, you can include neutral colors, including black and white. Now let's see how these pink variations come together in a painting. As always, I mix most of my colors in advance. When you decide on your colors and mix them beforehand, painting becomes much more relaxed and efficient. You do not have to stop all the time and you can stay in your flow. I'm going to paint with a palette knife. Only the first layer is applied with the brush. This is a very easy and intuitive way of painting. You do not need to rinse brushes constantly. You can simply wipe the palette knife on a piece of kitchen paper or an old cloth and continue working right away. This technique works beautifully for a painting on its own, but you can also use it as a background, like I did in these paintings with seagulls or with flowers. I'm not using pink on its own, but combining pink with neutral colors. A painting made up of only pink tones does not really appeal to me, and there will be plenty more color palettes with pink later on. For now, I thought it would be nice to create an abstract painting with pink as the main color combined with neutral tones. The background of the canvas board already had a light beige and gray base. In the first layer, I applied different shades of pink. How you do this is not that important because most of it will be covered by later layers anyway. From time to time the background remains visible and that adds variation. Although I decided on the colors beforehand, I did not plan the composition. I have a rough idea in my head, but I start by playing with color and see where it leads. Sometimes I make small sketches in advance, and honestly, that is usually the easiest way because it gives you direction. I probably should have done that here as well, but this way I can show you how I solved it along the way. I applied the paint with the palette knife. The large knife you see on screen was not used in the end. It is simply too big for this canvas board. At this stage, it is mainly about light and dark. The background is quite light, so darker colors stand out immediately, like the dark red. Pink is a lighter version of red, which is why I combine it with a deeper red tone. In the wet paint, I added texture using this comb. I am not exactly sure what it is called. I think it's something used for cake decorating. In any case, it is not an official painting tool. With the palette knife, I smooth the lower part a bit so the transition feels softer. With an old card, you can easily create thin lines. You can also use it like a stamp. I was not happy with the composition, so I adjusted it. There are many ways to build a composition, but one of the simplest is the rule of thirds. You divide the canvas horizontally and vertically into 3 equal parts. The point where those lines cross are great places for a focal point. To show this, I placed strips of paper on the canvas board. Even though the colors are not shown right here, I still want to explain the idea. I wanted a focal point in the lower right and another strong element in the upper left, so the eye naturally moves from the lower right to the upper left. That is why I made the color slightly darker in those areas and lightened other dark sections. And this is the result. What I really love about this way of painting is the sense of freedom it gives. By working in layers, the colors become more interesting because earlier layers remain subtle, visible and at depth. This technique works beautifully for a painting on its own, but you can also use it as a background. Is this a true monochrome painting? Probably not, but color palettes are a starting point, not strict rules. This way of painting gives you a lot of freedom. What you like, you leave as it is. What does not work, you can easily change. If something feels too dark, you go over it with a lighter color and the other way around. When the paint is still wet, the colors blend naturally. Usually I let a layer dry first and then add a new layer without completely covering the previous one. The drying process can be sped up using a hairdryer or a heat tool. This way you can create beautiful depth and layering. Painting with a palette knife is really a lot of fun if you enjoy this style. Thanks for watching. I hope this color palette inspired you to try new color combinations in your own paintings. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to turn on the bell so you won't miss next week's episode.